what in the world is happening? Why are these meals on a tray? These are my Freeze freezer meals that we're gonna cook in the Instant Pot later, but I'm gonna go put these in the freezer. And if you wanna know why they're on this, I will tell you. But first, I want you to download the freebie that is in the description below. I want you to watch the quick ingredient prep and meal prep. And then at the end of the video, I will teach you how to take these meals from the freezer directly into your Instant Pot, and then they will be ready about an hour later by the time they thaw in the pressure cooker and cook to perfection, and your dinner is ready to go. All right, let's get to it. Okay, grabbing the instructions. First up is ingredient prep, which in this case is one thing. We're going to slice this red onion, and then we will get on to the meal assembly. Love how fast this is all going to be. So I am going to slice this red onion. This is going to be for the root beer pulled pork, or in my case, pulled beef. I'm gonna do all beef roast today. You can easily interchange the beef roast with a pork roast for both recipes. I'm just gonna do all beef today. So I'm just gonna slice this fairly thin. And I'm gonna leave it in two groups. So one half of this red onion is gonna go with one bag and the other with the other bag. Oh, here come the tears already. I should have put my glasses on. I'm gonna try and hurry this up. Be very careful with your fingers on that last cut. Oh boy. But don't hurry when you're working with a knife. Too much. Here they are. And my nose is gonna start running. Literally crying. Like there's a tear that's about to fall on the cutting board. Oh, hold on. Woo! Okay, goodness. I'm moving this out of the way. I'm gonna try and recover from this quickly. Wash my hands. It's the flying onion juices that do that to your eyes. When you slice into an onion and the little bitty juices spray at you. That's what that's about. Okay, we're finished with this one. Let's move along to the prep. So I'm gonna do 2 of the root beer pulled porks at the same time. I am probably gonna be able to get away with this without my bag holders because these beef roasts are very, very, very ginormous today. They just are ginormous. And because of that, they should, actually lay this flat side down so it stands itself up. That made a mess. Okay, let me clean this up. Okay, so 2 of these beef roasts for the root beer pulled, in this case pulled beef, but pulled pork as well. See, because of the size of these beef roasts, they're gonna sit better like that on their own. So I'll be using the bag holders for the chicken for sure. Okay, next is going to be the 2 beef roasts for the Mississippi beef roast. Okay, I am gonna set these beef roasts up in here since they're not wanting to stand up on their own. That's just the shape of these chuck roasts. Okie dokes. Okay, these shifted into my meal prep order. Last but not least is going to be the cheesy salsa chicken. So let me set these guys up. We're going to add the chicken, which I have right here. Added. This is just the 2 large chicken breasts from the warehouse store packs. I'm going to use up the other 2 packs that I need to get into the freezer. Okay, let me wash up. I'll be right back. Okay, we're gonna start with the pulled pork, which is over here. I'm gonna add the onion in, just kind of spread it out a little. It's literally gonna melt into the sauce later, so don't worry about it if it's still in little half moon chunks. Next, we're gonna do root beer and barbecue sauce. So I'm just using the little cans. A 12-ounce can will work. I'm gonna do 1.5 cans for each. This should still stay upright because of that flat bottom of this roast. I hope I don't have to add. I think we're good to go. Okay, there's a sample bin later. We're gonna have to seal these up right away because this, so I'm gonna do about half into each and then let those bubbles fizz down. And then we're gonna add the barbecue sauce in. This is super risky doing this without the back holders. But I figure with the flat bottom shape of these roasts, it'll be okay. And I'm just gonna do 1.5 cups to 2 cups of barbecue sauce. We want this to be a hearty, thick sauce. It's gonna be pretty runny because of all the root beer that we just added in, but it will incorporate beautifully with the onions and the barbecue sauce. So you'll end up with a perfectly cooked sauce that you can shred the beef or pork into after you have pressure cooked it. Okay, so this, I'm just gonna seal these up now to show you so that nothing spills out. Once I get these all prepped and sealed up, I will share with you a really important tip for getting these frozen so that you can pressure cook them later. I'll be sharing that here in just a minute. Next is the Mississippi roast, which is a fan favorite around here. So I'm gonna start with pepper. I often salt and pepper these meals at the end of the cooking, but for this one, I'm gonna go ahead and do it now. After the pepper, I'm gonna do ranch, 1 packet's worth, which is about 2 tablespoons of this other ranch mix that I have. So I'm just gonna add this in. You can also add a gravy pack, but we tend to not do that. I like the ranch with the pepperoncini better by itself than when adding in the gravy. So that's just a personal preference, up to you. Okay, next is the pepperoncini. This is going to give this beef roast a nice zing. I personally like to eat the pepperoncinis with each little bite of shredded beef once it's slow cooked. So I usually add quite a bit, but it also just gives a really nice, it's not spicy, it's a zing. I don't know how else to describe it other than a zing. It's just perfect. We just love this. We make it a lot. I'm gonna just go ahead and use the rest of this jar. Let me strain a little bit more of this out of here. Okay, the last is going to be the pads of butter. I'm gonna do 4 pads into each baggie, and this will just help make that sauce a little creamier at the end of the cooking. I think I didn't cut those evenly. I'm just gonna use the rest of this. And last but not least is the salsa chicken with a little cheesiness. The cheesiness we add at the end of cooking. So we're not gonna add any cheese right now, but we are gonna start with the taco seasoning. So this is my homemade blend. I'll put the recipe link in the comments below. So I'm gonna do 2 tablespoons of taco seasoning, homemade mix with the chicken. And then I'm gonna do about 2 cups of salsa. I'm just gonna split this up between the 2 bags. This is a picante. This is one of our favorites for making salsa chicken. So this is what we'll pressure cook, and then we'll add the cheese after it has cooked to give it that cheesiness. So let's get these prepared for the freezer. So typically with freezer meals, I will do what's called flat freezing. That works really well for meals that you're gonna bake or grill or slow cook. It does not work well with a pressure cooker meal. And I'll show you why in a second. So the concept is pretty basic. You can't fit a square peg in a round hole. So what I mean by that is these gallon-sized baggies, which is full in this case, is too wide to put this roast and other ingredients in frozen into a 6-quart Instant Pot insert, okay? So we instead form them into kind of a circular shape and freeze them on a baking sheet so that they hold a circular shape so that you can easily transfer them frozen into the pressure cooker. The beauty of a freezer to Instant Pot meal is you can cook it in the pressure cooker from frozen, but this will not fit. Once this is frozen, it might fit now because it's mushable, but once it's frozen, it will not fit. I've tried, trust me. And so in this case, we need to kind of push the roast together, push the chicken together so that it forms kind of a circle shape. If I push like this, then it'll easily fit in here, right? So what I do, so that's the square peg round hole problem. So what I will do is I get a baking sheet, since I can put all 6 meals on here. I'm gonna push in and I'm going to pull out these little corner pieces, the little tails, if you will. And that way nothing gets stuck down in the bottom of these tails and it'll be easier to thaw out later, okay? So we'll put these 3 here. The same story, these are really full. So they're kind of already in a rounded shape. And just make sure to pull up the little corner pieces. And then let me get that corner piece pulled up. So I'm actually gonna kind of turn these 2 to the side so I can fit these chicken. And the chicken's much smaller, so just kind of push it together. And then all these together on the same baking sheet, freezing like this, will help them hold that round shape so they're easier to cook from frozen. Okay, ingredient prep is finished. The meal assembly is done. I have everything rounded out and prepped to freeze. I'm going to go ahead and transfer this into the freezer, and then I'll be back later with one of these freezer meals to show you how to get it from the freezer into the pressure cooker and onto your dinner table. Okay, here we are nice and frozen. So I am gonna go ahead and take this root beer pulled pork out to cook. I'm gonna show you how that works. I'm also gonna transfer these into the freezer so I can get my baking sheet out, and then we'll get this meal going in the Instant Pot. First stop for our freezer meal is a bowl of water. I'm just gonna thaw it for about 5 minutes here in the sink. If you're quick thawing like this for longer than 10 minutes, you need to transfer the bowl, the water, and the freezer meal into the fridge to keep it cold for food safety reasons. But since it's only gonna be about 5 minutes, I just need this frozen ball of delicious to separate from the baggie that it's in. So I'm gonna let this sit here for 5 minutes, and then we will transfer it into the Instant Pot. Okay, we're going to transfer this in here. You can see what I meant by square peg round hole earlier. So that's why we needed this to be smaller. So I'm just gonna get as much sauce out of this as I can. There is one rule with doing an Instant Pot meal from frozen, or any Instant Pot meal, is you need a cup of liquid. And there probably is some liquid already in here, but I'm gonna go ahead and add a full cup anyways. And we're going to get this put into the base, put the lid on, set to sealing, and I'm gonna do manual pressure for 1 hour and come back and shred all this meat up. If you need to cook it longer because it's a thicker roast, which I might in this case because that was pretty thick, you can just add cooking time after you've checked on it after the hour. But this will take about 15 minutes to come to pressure because that is frozen, and then another hour to cook. So just make sure that you're budgeting enough time for this to come to pressure. It does take a little longer because this is frozen, and then it will cook and I can shred it all up and it will be ready to go. Okay, just open this up and I am going to slice this up and then put it back in with the sauce. Oh, steamy, goodness gracious. And that is how a freezer to Instant Pot dinner works. Please give these a try. I have the free PDF linked underneath of the video, so make sure to download that so you can make this recipe, doubling it up for the freezer, and the other 2 recipes doubled up, so you'll get a total of 6 meals to put together into the freezer, as you've seen me do here. So easy, so amazing. Get it done in your kitchen.